Discovered my coworker stole my bonus. Should I report the bastard? Hello everyone. Before I start, I just want to say have a great and productive day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now with the story, enjoy everyone. My name's Baptiste, and I'm caught in a hellish dilemma at work. I've been slaving away at this job for 3 years now, and finally, I was in line for a fat bonus. You know, the kind that makes you feel like all those late nights and weekends were worth it. Yeah, that one. But it turns out life had other plans for me. Let me start from the beginning. I work at this mid-sized tech firm in a city I'll leave unnamed. It's a decent gig, good pay, nice benefits, and the team, mostly okay, except for one prick, Jerome. Now, Jerome is one of those guys who's always got an angle. You know the type, always schmoozing with the higher-ups, always volunteering for the easy tasks that make him look good. But he's harmless, or so I thought. The drama kicked off last month. Our boss, Monsieur Lefebvre, a no-nonsense kind of guy with a permanent scowl, called me into his office. My heart was racing because I knew bonus season was around the corner, and I'd busted my ass this year. So there I was, standing in front of Lefebvre, trying to keep my cool. "Baptiste," he said, looking over his glasses, "I wanted to personally thank you for your hard work this year. The team wouldn't be where it is without your dedication." My chest puffed out a bit. Here it comes, I thought, the sweet taste of recognition. "And," he continued, "I'm pleased to inform you that you've earned a significant bonus." There it was. I couldn't help but grin. Lefebvre handed me a sealed envelope and patted me on the shoulder. "Enjoy it," he said. I practically skipped back to my desk, envelope clutched in my hand. I didn't open it right away. I wanted to savor the moment. But as the day went on, curiosity got the better of me. I ripped it open and almost choked. The number was wrong. Way wrong. Like insultingly wrong. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe Lefebvre had handed me the wrong envelope. But when I asked around, it became clear that everyone else had received their expected bonuses. What the actual fuck? Determined to get to the bottom of it, I approached our HR manager, a lovely woman named Amandine. She was the kind of person you could talk to about anything. I knocked on her door and she waved me in with a warm smile. "Amandine, I need to ask you something," I started, trying to keep my voice steady. "I think there's been a mistake with my bonus." Her brow furrowed. "What do you mean, Baptiste?" I handed her the letter. She looked it over, her expression growing more puzzled by the second. "This doesn't seem right at all," she said. "Let me check the records." As Amandine tapped away on her computer, I felt a knot forming in my stomach. After a few minutes, she looked up at me, a mix of confusion and concern on her face. "According to our records, your bonus was processed correctly, but..." She trailed off, biting her lip. "But what?" I pressed. She sighed. "It seems like the amount you received isn't what was originally allocated to you. There's a discrepancy here." I blinked. "A discrepancy? What kind of discrepancy?" She lowered her voice. "It looks like someone might have tampered with the records. I'll need to investigate further." My mind was racing. Tampered? Who the hell would mess with my bonus? I thanked Amandine and left her office, my head spinning. That's when I saw Jerome, swaggering down the hallway with that smug grin plastered on his face, and it hit me like a freight train. For the next few days, I kept my distance from Jerome. I needed to be sure before I accused him of anything. Amandine was on the case, and she promised to keep me updated. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Jerome had been eyeing that bonus too. He'd made some offhand comments about how he could use the extra cash, but could he really be that much of a snake? A week later, Amandine called me back into her office. She looked exhausted, but determined. "Baptiste, I have some news. I went through the records with a fine-tooth comb, and it's clear that someone altered the bonus allocations, and all signs point to Jerome." I felt a rush of anger. "That bastard," I muttered. "What should I do, Amandine?" She sighed. "I wish I could give you a clear answer. This is serious. If you report him, he could get fired, But you need solid evidence. Otherwise, it's just your word against his. I nodded, feeling a mix of rage and helplessness. Thanks, Amandine. I'll handle it from here. That night, I couldn't sleep. The thought of that smug prick getting away with this was driving me insane. The next day, I decided to confront him. Screw waiting for solid evidence. I wanted to see his reaction. I found him in the break room, making his usual cup of fancy coffee. "Hey, Jerome," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He looked up, flashing that irritating grin. "Baptiste, what's up?" I took a deep breath. "I know what you did." His smile faltered. "What are you talking about?" "My bonus," I said through gritted teeth. "You tampered with it." He laughed, but it was a nervous, jittery sound. "Are you serious? Why would I do that?" "Don't play dumb with me, Jerome. I know you've been messing with the records." His eyes narrowed. "You have no proof." "Not yet," I said, "but I will, and when I do, you're finished." He scoffed and walked away, but I saw the fear in his eyes, and that's when I knew I had him. I spent the next few days plotting my next move. I needed proof, and I needed it fast. Amandine was discreetly helping me, but we couldn't access everything. I needed to catch Jerome in the act. That's when I came up with a plan. I knew Jerome often stayed late, supposedly working on important projects. I decided to do the same. One evening I stayed back, pretending to work on a report. The office was nearly empty, and I could hear Jerome typing away in his cubicle. I waited until the building was nearly deserted before making my move. I crept towards his desk, my heart pounding. I needed to see what he was up to. As I got closer, I could see his computer screen. He was fiddling with the bonus records again. The audacity of this guy. I pulled out my phone, ready to snap a photo as evidence. But in my haste, I knocked over a cup of pens on his desk. The clatter echoed through the empty office. Jerome spun around, eyes wide. "What the fuck are you doing, Baptiste?" he shouted. I didn't have time to think. "Caught you red-handed, you bastard!" I yelled back. "I knew you were up to something!" He lunged at me, trying to grab my phone. We tussled, knocking over chairs and scattering papers everywhere. Finally, I managed to push him off and sprint towards Amandine's office, hoping she was still there. Luckily, Amandine was still in her office, working late as usual. I burst in panting and holding up my phone. "I got him!" I gasped. "He was messing with the records. I have proof." Amandine looked at the photo and nodded. "This is it, Baptiste. We need to take this to Monsieur Lefebvre immediately." We hurried to Lefebvre's office, where he was just about to leave for the night. We explained everything, and I showed him the photo. Lefebvre's expression darkened as he looked at the evidence. "This is serious," he said. "Jerome's actions are grounds for immediate termination. Thank you for bringing this to my attention." The next morning, the office was buzzing with rumors. Jerome had been escorted out of the building, his face pale and shocked. It turns out he'd been stealing from the company in more ways than one. They found discrepancies in other financial records too. As for me, I finally received my rightful bonus, along with a heartfelt apology from Lefebvre. But the whole ordeal left a bitter taste in my mouth. I'd learned the hard way that not everyone could be trusted, and that some people would go to any lengths for personal gain. In the end, justice was served, but at a cost. I'll never forget the look on Jerome's face as he was led away, nor the sleepless nights I spent worrying about my job. But I guess that's life, isn't it? You win some, you lose some, and sometimes you have to fight like hell to get what you deserve.